Well, I am privileged today to have a friend and a filmmaker here, Collin Everett, who's a graduate of Compass College and Visual Arts
Oh, cinematic
and
arts.
Cinematic Arts,
Uh huh.
as well as a celebrated filmmaker. Collin, you just recently won an award here at CCTV, 45th Parallel Award for a film. Is that correct?
That is correct. That was sometime in October. That's the annual. I'm not sure exactly sixth or seventh year. I think that they did it. But I submitted a film and won in my category. There were like 12 different categories, and one of mine won. So
It's actually a pretty funny story about this submission. Tell us how this happened.
I well, I've been building a rapport with them for the summer, and I saw that they were promoting 45th Film Festival. So I went on there and tried to submit my film that I had directed in film school. For it actually has a crazy story. Um, like we got robbed, we got chased by meth heads during the making of this of
During the
Trip.
making of the film?
Yeah, during the making of the film.
That's great.
And so that was the one that I wanted to submit, but because I had also made another film with friends, it was a 48-hour film festival
All right.
that was attached to the same account that the 45th Film Festival was.
Right.
So the film that I actually ended up paying $20 and submitting was not the one that I intended.
It wasn't the one you had originally meant, and
Yeah,
the one you were robbed by
yeah,
meth heads.
exactly. That's the one that I wanted to submit and still haven't yet to CCTV.
And what was the
Uh,
film that you did submit?
The film that I did submit was it was made in 48 hours from time of conception of idea to execution of it. Editing, posting it online was 48 hours, and that film. Have you seen it?
The one you submitted to the film festival?
Yes.
Yes, I saw it.
Okay. All right. Um, so that film was. That film was probably made 4 years ago, and it's a comedy. It has dance in it. It has a dance training montage. It's very silly. But I was very honored to win the award with my friend, and it reunited a friend of mine who was in the film. We hadn't seen each other in like 3 years, so it was a really cool.
So before we jump on to the next topic, I want to ask you, tell me about the process of the creative filmmaking. Like, how did you had 48 hours in this assignment to make a film,
Yeah.
which is the one you submitted and won for the 45th Parallel
Yes.
Film Festival. How did that work for you? How did you guys come up with a film, a concept, execution in 48 hours? How long was it? What was the process?
So I think initially they gave us a prop, a name, and an occupation, and they said go with it. You got 48 hours.
Okay, so they actually gave you something to seed with.
Yeah.
It's almost like these cooking shows, and they say you have to use this ingredient or these ingredients.
Yeah.
Make a dish. You were given a name.
Mm-hmm.
Was it the name of a character or a name of just a name?
It was a name of a character, Yorgov something. Yorgov.
So you had to put Yorgov in the film, and then a prop. What was the prop?
Prop was a bag.
Just a bag.
It was a bag.
Like a duffel bag.
Yeah.
Okay. Yorgov, a bag, and what was the other one?
Occupation.
And what was the occupation?
Dentist.
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 So was Yorgov the dentist? Or? Okay.
Yeah. So we were like, Yorgov's dad wants him to be a dentist. He wants to be a dancer. And there's a bag somewhere in the
Right.
film. I think he pulls a bandana and puts it on himself like Rambo,
Yeah.
something like that. So that was we had probably 12 people in the writing room. It cost like $150.
Wow.
So the story of the 48-hour film festival that I submitted and won for was actually like is a great story too, just of collaboration, and we dwindled it down. Like we started with probably 12 people, and then that went into like 7 people actually going on set and making this, not including actors. That was
Right.
probably more people, and then there were maybe in post production like 2 people working on it, and then they submitted it.
And you're saying from concept day one
Mm-hmm.
to filming
Mm-hmm.
through post,
Yeah.
48 hours.
That's all. Yeah.
So tell me more about that timeline. Did you sleep?
Yes. Yes, we did. When the clock starts, we went probably the next 6 hours writing, and then I think it was just like, okay, we're going to bed because it was nighttime. We met in the evening, and then it was nighttime. So then, we sleep probably 6 to 8 hours.
Okay.
Go up and meet at the park for the training montage. We actually met at the school early in the morning. We met at the school, and then we went to the park in the afternoon. Shot the rest at my house at night, and then post-production took the rest the next day.
That was it. Huh? That's really amazing. And this wasn't the film you got chased by meth heads. That's a different film.
That's a different one. Yeah.
You want to tell that story quickly?
Yeah. So, we're shooting a film. It's
Life
actually
of a filmmaker, right? It's good.
It's actually very dramatic. I would still love for CCTV to see this.
Yeah.
I intend on submitting it to them soon, and even to the film festival come October. But that story. Okay, so, pardon me while that story. It was for entering second semester. My friends and I were chosen in a group, actually. We went up and had to write on a whiteboard all the different groups, and I was kind of with a dream team of mine. We were really excited, and we didn't want to use the red camera, which was what the school was wanting us to use. $60,000 camera. We wanted to use a Blackmagic. A7S. That's what we wanted to use. A7S because...
Just quickly tell, what's the difference between the red camera and the A7S?
So the A7S does extremely well in low lighting. You can pick up stars.
Right, okay.
Red camera you cannot.
You cannot, okay.
Red camera does do well in low, but it really, it needs this type of lighting.
It needs light.
To do
It's
well.
A great camera, but not the one you needed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We wanted our film to be shot to be dark, but to be visible, to have a very specific look to it. So that was only a $3,000 camera, but we could rent it from a company. So they loan us the camera. The school fights us on it. They're like, use the red, and we're like, no. Thank God that we didn't use their camera.
Right.
Because in the neighborhood that we were shooting in, that I lived in, we shot it around my house, in my house, we shot in 2 different parking lots, but the one that we did shoot in, I remember we wrapped at 4:30 in the morning.
Right.
And people had been watching us, people around the neighborhood. I remember this specific car that sat there. They drove up and sat there with people in the car, and they just watched us. And we're like, what is that car doing? And then they drove off. So it could have been them. But we go up to my house. You have to go upstairs and my buddy leaves his car unlocked with all the camera, the computer,
the camera that you rented,
all of our footage,
3,000, and the footage.
Yeah, all the beautiful footage from that day. It was like a 9-10 hour day.
Yeah, and
we lost everything, and we had to tell the teachers right away of my school. It cost my buddy $3,000, $3,500.
Oh my God!
I had to start a Kickstarter for him,
help pay him back.
a GoFundMe or whatever, just to help him pay rent and get it.
Wow!
That was devastating to him, but we would have lost the red camera. I really think.
Yeah.
We would have lost the red camera.
The $60,000 camera.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So we went back and shot my entire film in a 16-hour day. Okay. And it turned out to be, I think, there were 11 films in that whole rest of that semester. Mine was...
And what was the name of this film?
Pretty high up there. Trip.
Trip. And I want to say, for the record, I've seen Trip. And again, the video URL will be in the description. This is an amazing film. You have to watch it. I want to ask you actually part of that film. Specifically, the ending scene is really amazing.
For sure.
And I know you and I had a conversation, so once you watch the film, you'll understand the question I'm going to ask. But the motivation of your characters, do you develop them throughout? Do you build a history for them, who they are, how they got there, why they're doing what they're doing? Is that kind of understood by all the writers and all the people that are filming?
Yes, some of the motivations I don't share, but at least I know them.
You know them,
Mm-hmm.
And you directed this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I did. My friend wrote it, who also shot and edited it. So he gets just as much credit for the direction of this.
Right.
It was total collaboration.
What's his name?
Joe Miller.
Joseph Miller. Okay. Joseph Miller.
Yeah.
So this film Trip actually, and I've seen a number of little short films that you've done, and some of your stand-up. And for those of you who don't know, Collin also performed stand-up and was leading as well a we call it a comedy night at a local bar in Michigan. Am I saying that right? Kind of organized and brought people, talent in, as well as himself to do stand-up. And if you get a chance to ever see Collin do stand-up here in Salem, you certainly should go see him. But I've seen some of your stand-up. I've seen some of your movies, and I have to say, Trip is probably my favorite. Some of the ways you shot that, some of the scenes. One of the things that just me, I personally experienced in watching it is the sense where the camera just kind of stays still. There's not a lot of movement of the camera, and you're just kind of catching the character in conversation with expressions, interacting with either an object or with people. Is that a fair characterization of some of that movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted the film to be very monotone about what it was displaying, because it's pretty heavy.
It's heavy film.
It's a heavy movie, and it's about 12 minutes.
Yeah.
And to tell kind of two stories in one.
That's a good point. I hadn't thought of that.
Mm-hmm. Showing them before this meet time, and they're just going to this meeting. In the second half of the movie, it's actually most of the movie is in that car.
Correct.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, is that something, when I think of movie making, and I experience a movie as a viewer, and I look back and I go, well, that's interesting, you're right. I didn't even realize most of the movie's in the car. Does that come as a result of careful planning and intention, or is it something that happens on the set and you go, oh, this should really not move from the scene, this is where it's happening? Or a little bit of both, or what's the process?
That happens in the location scout. Location scouts are so important because we in my house we thought, okay, we want a what do you call those? Put them on the wall like a tapestry. We wanted a tapestry, the tapestry of the skull with a bright light on it.
Right.
Or we want to take all the light bulbs out of this room and put red LED light bulbs in it. Or put the red LED in the lamp. We need a zoom. I think it's called a zoom. A little microphone. I don't remember exactly what it's called. But we just sit on the table so we could get the slap. Those type of things were all
right, the slap. Yeah.
All done beforehand.
I forgot about the slap.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The slap.
We did that. We did that probably 16 times.
The slap.
Yeah, and it was real.
Yeah. Was it real slap? Okay.
It was, and the actor who slapped the actress, he did not want to do it, but the actress was like, "Let's go." She was so. Yeah, she was like, "I've done it in theater," and so.
16 times ain't nothing.
Dude, yeah. Yeah, she did ask for an intermission to like ice her cheek. But,
oh yeah.
Yeah, it was at times a really hard film to make and continue on with. Because I didn't even talk about the being chased by methods and stuff yet.
Right.
That was day 2.
That was day 2.
That was a week and a half later when we shot it in 16 hours.
I was going to ask you. So you weren't chased the first time you got stolen from.
We were just robbed.
But the second time.
Yeah.
You said we're not going to be robbed again, so you ran.
Yes. Yeah.
Was it the same folks?
Could be.
You don't know.
We saw. Okay, so we're shooting in the car. There's like 6 of us, and all of a sudden, probably the scariest image I've ever seen live was this this lady who walked up to our car, and she had like ponytails that were kind of like scraggly, and she had a flashlight, and I think she saw us and got a little spooked, and we were it was in the middle of a take, and we were very scared. And then she went around looking in other cars. We just observed her in this parking lot, and she did open a car, and she grabbed stuff and she walked off.
Wow.
And actually, that
You found a great location for the film, though.
absolutely
Yeah.
get the
seems
environment. We really captured the environment.
Pick the right environment.
Yeah.
And I just want to say for the folks who'll see this film, I love the ending. It's a subtle touch with
Yeah.
the people walking
Me too.
through
Yeah.
the parking lot, but I thought that was amazing. And I'm not even sure why I thought it was amazing.
Sure.
To be honest, I noticed it when I saw it for the first time, and I loved it. I was like, what a great way to segue away from the scene.
Yeah.
It's good. How long have? Oh, go ahead.
When we showed it in my school for it to get for the first time, a couple of my classmates stood up and clapped.
Oh,
They
yeah.
were,
So good.
Yeah, it's
So good.
Yeah.
You really have to watch this if you haven't seen the film yet. Please watch it. Collin, I want to ask you, how old were you when you thought you might want to pursue film? Do you remember? Was there an age, or did it happen quite naturally, or was there a moment that you went, "Oh, I'm a filmmaker at heart"?
I remember writing my first feature script. It was horrible, but I wrote my first feature at 8. I just was on the computer. The formatting was completely wrong.
Of course, you're 8 years old. Yeah.
Obviously, but
Could you type at 8? That's amazing.
oh yeah,
You could type at 8?
oh yeah.
I didn't type till I was
yeah.
like 16.
No way.
I mean, real typing, right?
Wow.
I just want to say this is the earliest I've ever heard anyone type. 8
Wow,
years old. Okay,
yeah.
so did you use a program, or was it just on paper like
I think
a Word,
just Word.
and you just had a script written out?
Yeah, I remember.
What was the story? Do you remember?
Cops Night Out was the title.
Cops Night Out.
Uh-huh.
You
Cops
better
and
make
bad
it into a
guys.
film one day. That's so
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Cops Night Out. I love it. So at a pretty young age, you were already thinking in terms of like film and
Yeah.
seeing life in terms of cinematic events.
And every character in my script was selected, was handpicked.
Right.
I wanted that to be Ethan. I wanted that to be Steven. I wanted that to be Danny,
Yeah. Right.
And so I was already thinking in terms of like collaborating with peers.
Yeah.
So that has really only ever continued and picked up as I've gained knowledge. Obviously, I'm 24 now, so.
Now, one thing that's come up a lot in this interview is collaboration. You really love that artistic collaboration process with people. It's both inspiring to you, and I think you probably really like to inspire other people as well.
I take those collaboration moments home with me. I take them home, and I can be high from that experience for the next couple of days. That's all I talk about.
Yeah, it
You
lights
know?
you up, man.
It
That's
really
so good.
does.
So just briefly before we end, I hate to ask the stereotypical questions, but I got to ask a few because they're interesting. What are some of your favorite films that you would say, everyone has a very personal sense of their favorite films. It's not always the incredible color palette or like some people like really epic movies, like The English Patient, war movies. And some people like really artsy indie, and it's not about technical issues
Very
or color.
small.
Very small, but for you, what are some of your favorite films and why?
So I think just like top favorite movie is Nightcrawler.
Nightcrawler.
I can watch that at any given point with anybody.
Yeah.
And I will defend it. I've heard people just straight up say I really don't like Nightcrawler, and I'm like, dude, I cannot be friends with you. I don't know.
That's with Rene Russo and
Jake Gyllenhaal.
Jake Gyllenhaal, and he plays an amazing character in Nightcrawler. I mean, he really, he's a great actor.
Yeah.
He owns that creepy character.
Absolutely.
So well.
Lost the weight for it.
Yeah.
He wanted to describe his character as a wolf.
Yeah. What do you like about it? Like, when you are drawn to a film like that, what is it that wakes you up inside?
The first thing I'll say is Dan Gilroy. That was his first movie.
Okay.
And his other films that have come out after that have been good, but nothing like Nightcrawler.
Yeah.
He knew exactly what he was doing when he made Nightcrawler. Every frame of that film is intentionally put there. It is
It's gorgeous.
absolutely.
I loved it. Thanks for the recommendation. by
Yeah,
the way.
dude.
I saw it. What else did you like about it? You like the director, and you like the intentionality of it.
That's also behind with the dialogue too.
The dialogue.
The
Okay.
dialogue takes away my breath sometimes.
Oh.
It's so intense for me. I feel like I'll never forget being in the theater, watching some of those scenes with Renee or with Riz Ahmed.
Yeah.
Riz
Right.
Ahmed
Right.
really reminds me of my brother Kobe
Right.
in the film. So I think that's why I just like intake him
Right.
so much. His what I view as insecurity in my brother, I also view as insecurity in this guy. He just plays it so realistically and
so
naturally.
perfectly.
Yeah.
His storyline is heartbreaking for me.
Yeah.
And I love the character. I don't want to give anything away in case people haven't seen it.
Yeah.
But he's amazing in that film.
And he's just a dude wanting to make money.
Yeah.
And he finds this guy who's promoting this as like he's saying we, like we our company, you know,
Right.
it's just him.
It's just him, yeah.
Yeah. But his storyline with Jake Gyllenhaal's character is just heartbreaking.
So what's interesting is a couple times that we've talked movies, writing comes to the surface often. Like, and maybe this is really intrinsic to the industry, but with you, I've heard a lot more than say with other people I've talked with, that the dialogue and the writing like really resonates with you. Is that something when you write films that you really focus on a lot? Is not just the cinematic effects or the visuals of it, but the actual human interaction that's going on.
Yes. Not only when I'm writing, but even when I'm watching. I just heard in an interview somebody talking about Robert De Niro's ability to take even bad dialogue off of the page and make it sound as natural as I'm talking to you right now. And that is actually a difficult thing to do. Not everybody can do it. I'm going to take these words off of this page. You should try it sometime. At home, you should really find a script, something, and try to read the words as if it's genuinely coming from me. That is a difficult thing to do.
I haven't done that, but I will tell you, my wife was asking me once why I liked Eminem the rapper.
Sure.
And so one time I put one of his songs on the TV and I gave her the lyrics.
Yeah, yeah.
And my wife rapped to Eminem.
Whoa.
But it was amazing.
Oh, yeah.
She became a fan.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, so I like what you're saying. So real quick, Nightcrawler. Just name 2 or 3 others you'd say, hey, these hit me hard. You should see them.
American Beauty is one that I will never let go of.
It's good. Yeah.
Absolutely. For many different reasons that I won't get into now, but and Black Swan.
Oh, Black Swan.
Black Swan is just like it touches my soul every time that I watch that movie.
I love it.
I am so in sway with the main character every time that I watch that movie.
Pulled into that one.
Yeah, dude.
It's good.
Absolutely.
So Nightcrawler, American Beauty, Black Swan.
Black Swan.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, Collin, it has been a privilege, sheer pleasure to have you on today. Thank you.
So much, man.